Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this preparatory video for Maundy Thursday at Home. Father Noah here, and Mary Kat as well.
Hi, Noah. Hi, Chapel of the Cross.
We are going to talk a little bit about Maundy Thursday and then talk you through some of the resources we've created to allow you to have a Maundy Thursday observance in your home in a way that we hope makes it so that this night is special and hits all the right notes for what it's meant to be, liturgically as well as spiritually. So for those of you who don't know, the word Maundy is a strange word, and it actually comes from the Latin word mandatum, which is taken from the new commandment, mandatum, that Jesus gives to his disciples on this night. And after washing their feet, he says to them, "Love one another as I have loved you. I give you this new commandment." So there are these two specific ways that Jesus did this to really sort of incarnate this commandment, to drive home what it was he was trying to get his disciples to understand. And one of those is indeed washing their feet, which was an act of humble service, especially for someone who was the teacher and the leader of the group, to get down on his hands and knees and wash their dirty feet. But also this same night is the night that he instituted the Lord's Supper, or the Eucharist, where he blessed bread and wine and said, "This is my body, this is my blood, and do this in remembrance of me." And both of those ways are important actions that we continue as Christians to try to live out that commandment to love one another as he loves us.
This year, because we are in this strange time, we wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to invite you to make your own meals in your own home connect with this sacred meal that Jesus was having with his friends. He had gathered with his friends around what would have been a simple dinner. There would have been bread, there would have been olives and figs and other sort of food traditional to that area. You might decide to prepare a special favorite family meal. You might like to prepare something in the Mediterranean diet, in that sort of style of meal. Do whatever you want, but keep it simple. It might just be soup and bread and fruit. This time that we're inviting you into is to spend time gathering with your family, and perhaps it is your family that is in your home with you now, or perhaps it is a loved one who is across the country or across the county that you want to connect with through a video call or just a phone call. Someone who you will sit and eat a festive meal together and who you would like to pray with as we remember this special night. This is Jesus and his friends gathered around a table together, and Jesus surprises them when he does something that a servant would typically do. He offers to wash the feet of his dear friends, and his friends are surprised by this action. But they receive the news from him, they receive the word from him that he's doing this as an act to show that his love for them is beyond that of his action of washing the feet of his friends is a way of showing that he is not over them, he is not above them, he is actually there to care for them and calls us and invites us to care for one another. As servants would care for the needs of others.
So, as we have wanted to mark this night with you, but cannot, we have created an outline of a service that you can do in your house. And we hope you've found that resource and have looked it over. But there'll be some prayers, there'll be some readings, and then there'll be some instructions for ways in which you can enact some of these things yourselves. And we think that will hopefully capture the spirit, the essence of this night for you in your homes.
So you'll want to, again, sort of set a table for those who are gathered around. Perhaps if you're connecting with a friend that's somewhere else, you might even want to set a place for them at your table, even if they're connecting with you by phone or by video chat on this night. You also would like to have either printed out or looking at a screen of the resources that are prepared for you, or your Holy Bible. If you have a Bible in your household, you might want to read your scripture right from the Bible in your house. You would want to have a wash basin and a pitcher and maybe some towels. Some warm water for the pitcher would be nice. You can have soap in there as well. And Noah's going to show you his foot washing station.
So this is how we've chosen to do it in our house. I'll turn it around here. A simple setup. This need not be the fine china. That's not exactly the spirit of the night, but something that honors it. We've got some flowers and some candles and a simple place setting. And then for the foot washing, if you look over here, you can see just a simple chair with some towels and a basin and a pitcher of water. Just a simple setup like that. It requires a little bit of preparation and planning, but not something we hope that you're all able to do. We have an opening prayer that we've offered that if you'd like to do around the table as a form of grace. And then we are inviting you within the conversation that you're having over the meal to share some memories that you have of great meals that you have experienced and talk a little bit about what made those meals so special. Why was it that this one particular meal was something that stays in your memory? We're assuming that the Last Supper is one that's stuck in the disciples' memory, and we know that they continued that practice that Jesus asked them to continue in remembrance of him. And there's so often that food and fellowship going so closely together become some of our fondest memories, either from childhood or from our travels, or from just times of holiday and celebration. They're really special moments. And so we're wondering what special moments have been formed around a food table and a place that you can come together in fellowship with people you love and care about. So that can be your topic of conversation as you go on. At some point within that, in that time, free to read the passage from 1 Corinthians we have provided, which is sort of the words of institution where Jesus takes the bread and takes the wine and blesses it. If you have bread and wine at your table, feel free to lift those up or touch them at that point, just to mark that moment within the readings frame, where it allows your meal to have a scriptural frame to it as you go through it.
When your dinner has come to an end, we invite you to read from the portion of the Gospel of John, the story of Jesus giving the Great Commission to his beloved friends, showing the example of himself as a servant to them when he washes their feet.
Once that's done, and we know that's not something that everybody likes to participate in, but we'd encourage you to try, especially within the privacy of your own home. And if you have kids that are eating with you, they're fully welcome to participate in this. It can be a lot of fun. Just have a few extra towels around so you need not worry about splashing and spilling. But everybody should participate if possible and if they'd like to, because it really is a really wonderful incarnation of that commandment that we've been talking about tonight. Once that's all done, you're welcome to come back to the table for a closing prayer, and then we're going to do something, a sort of ritual clearing of the table. For those of you who've been to a Maundy Thursday service at Chapel of the Cross or any other church, you'll know that the service ends with a very powerful stripping of the altar, as they say. So all the ornate things that the flowers and the candlesticks and all the cushions and the brass and the finery are all taken away as we prepare to turn towards Good Friday. And we go from a celebratory meal into a more somber, reflective period as we make that turn. So in order to accomplish that effect in your homes, we invite you to go one by one and clear things from the table until the table is completely clear. And while you're doing that, we've provided a couple of psalms that you could read or have one person read when they're not clearing. We've selected Psalm 34 or Psalm 116. There may be other psalms that you like or would like to recite. You're welcome to do that. But just to sort of, again, frame this action with a scriptural context. And once that's all done, you can come back to the table and maybe have a moment together before going about the rest of your evening.
When you come back to a table where you had something like a beautiful meal set, a beautiful table setting with food prepared, and then you come back and the table is completely cleared, completely empty, there's sort of a striking difference in that experience. And so that last moment is to sort of sit and wonder what one will do in this time. And what Jesus did with his friends that night was he went into a garden, the Garden of Gethsemane, and he prayed, and he invited his friends to pray with him. And so one of the traditions that happens on Maundy Thursday is that many times people will keep vigil, and they'll sort of follow the invitation of Jesus, would you not stay awake with me 1 hour, as the disciples are sort of drifting off and falling asleep. They didn't quite know the excitement and the things that were brewing around them, and they drifted off to sleep in their prayers. And Jesus' invitation to us to sit with him and to watch with him is something that we're extending to you through a virtual vigil. And so you'll have an opportunity to sit with a video, with some beautiful music, and with some images of not only gardens from the Holy Land, but also some of the beautiful gardens of the Chapel of the Cross, and other images from our community. And so your invitation is to take some time, some meditative, reflective, quiet time. That could be any time between the end of this dinner and before the Good Friday service that will happen at noon the next day. And to simply place yourself in a space of being present to Jesus and praying with Jesus on the night before his suffering and death.
So that's what we offer, and we hope that these resources will make this a holy and special one, even if it is different from a way you've observed Maundy Thursday in the past. It really is the beginning of this 3-day journey to the cross, to the tomb, and eventually, thanks be to God, out the other side to Easter Day. So we welcome you, we invite you to join us in this observation, and you know that you are in our prayers as we go about this in our homes, and we hope that we are in yours as well. So thanks for watching, and bless you as you go about this good work in your places and your homes and in your hearts. Peace be with you.